from the disclosure that you've received, you could see that the state has consulted, or at least have been assisted in the investigations by expert consultants.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. What were you referring to in?
My lord, I was referring to the audit report from Deloitte.
Okay. And do you perhaps know how extensive this report is?
It's a bunch of documents, my lord.
And do you also intend to consult with experts?
Yes, my lord.
And from prison, with, like you said, about 80,000 pages, how would you be able to consult with your consultants?
It's not possible. And they are also not allowed to come to prison. No electronics devices are allowed in prison. So that makes it also difficult, my lord, to consult with experts.
Regardless whether you can consult or not consult, can you afford them?
Not at all, my lord.
And why is that?
Being incarceration makes it difficult for me. Crippled funds.
Thank you, Mr. Hatuikulipi. We can move on to a new ground or a new fact. The fourth one. Do you have your summary there with you?
Yes, my lord.
Yes. The fourth ground that you have raised is that disclosure, or the disclosure you received, it reveals that the state does not have a strong case against you. Now, generally, obviously, this is an aspect that we would canvass through cross-examination, and it's the state's duty to prove that they do have a strong case. But from your perspective, and just in brief, please tell the Honorable Court, why do you think the state does not have a strong case against you?
My lord, disclosure reveals that Mr. Willem Oliphil, from the ACC, the former, he used to work for ACC. I heard he have resigned now. But during my bail proceeding, he was working for the ACC. During my previous bail application, Mr. Oliphil was dishonest, my lord. Mr. Oliphil testified that after Tamson was introduced to Semeji group or representative, after that first they met at the farm of Mr. Bernhard Esau to talk about the planning how to access the fishing industry. That was Mr. Oliphil's testimony. My lord, there was no meeting at the farm of Mr. Esau to plan how to access fishing industry. I read Mr. Stephenson's affidavit, and there is no statement that says that there was a meeting.
My lord, I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct. It appears the witness is reading from a pre-prepared kind of statement. Is it his own notes? Is it a statement?
These are my notes, my lord.
If it's a statement that is pre-prepared, can we have it?
These are my notes, my lord, that I just wrote with my pen.
The one that one came from under, the one that is on top.
These are the facts, my lord, the new facts.
Is my letter friend asking that he should be provided with what? With a copy of the witness notes? Because he is entitled to make notes, my lord, or just to refresh his memory.
We do not know from what document he's reading from. but it appears there is a document in front of him from which the witness is reading.
Yes.
That does not really show that he's giving evidence if he's just reading a document pre-prepared by whoever we don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure from his reply if you are still not satisfied. He displayed
My lord,
a note that appears to be handwritten.
let me put this away.
Okay. All right.
I see my Icelandic friend has got quite some eagle eyes there.
And the last statement you made was that you read Mr.
Stephenson, Johannes Stephenson's affidavit.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, my lord, if I may just have let's just briefly recap, Mr. Hatuikulipi. So you said when Mr. Oliver came to testify in the initial bail application, he testified that after you were introduced to some energy group of companies or representatives, that there was then a meeting at the farm of Mr. Bernhard Esau, and it was at this meeting that there was a discussion in terms of how they can access the fishing industry.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. And then you then went on to testify that there was no meeting and that you have read the affidavit of Johannes Stephenson.
That is
Mr.
correct.
Stephenson.
That is correct, my lord.
Who's this Mr. Stephenson that you're referring to? I think
It's the state witness.
the state witness. That is the number one witness on the list that you just went through in Exhibit B2.
Their star witness, yes.
Okay. Now you have this statement that you are referring to. Where did you get this statement?
From the disclosure provided to us.
Okay. And when Mr. Olafir was testifying, was he referring to the evidence of Mr. Johannes Stephenson?
That is correct, my lord.
Okay. And what does Mr. Stephenson's statement say? Was there a meeting at the farm of Mr. Esau?
When I read Mr. Stephenson's affidavit, there is no statement that says there was a meeting at Mr. Bernhard Esau's farm.
Does Mr. Stephenson in his affidavit in any way say that there was a meeting at the farm of Mr. Esau, in particular to plan how to access the fishing industry?
There is no statement, my lord, that says that, my lord.
Now, if Mr. Olafir said this in court, what does that make now? And Johannes is saying this, Mr. Stephenson.
He was dishonest to the court. And that time, it was only Mr. Olivier that had access to Mr. Stephenson's affidavit. I only got hold of Mr. Stephenson's affidavit when it was disclosed to us after the investigation was completed.
My lord, for the court's convenience, Mr. Olafir's testimony is at page 802 of the record. And in that regard, in particular,
800 and
page 802 of the record, my lord.
thank you.
And is there anything, is there anything else that Mr. Olafir was dishonest to in the initial bail application?
My lord, Mr. Oliphil also testified that he took a statement from the accountant of Semeji in Namibia by the name of Adele Pay. And he testified that Erongo has invoiced Semeji Group. And when he took the statement from Adelpay, he told the court that Adelpay said that there was no consultancy work done. So, my lord,
Sorry.
sorry.
Let me just intervene. Now, we just need to clarify this aspect. When you are saying Mr. Olafir testified that Irongo, which Irongo are you referring to?
Erongo Clearing and Forwarding is my company, my lord.
Okay. So what Mr. Olafir, from your testimony, Mr. Olafir testified that Irongo Clearing did what?
Did not do any work or services for Semeji Group.
And according to Mr. Olafir, where did he get this information that there was no consultancy work done?
He said he took a statement from the accountant of Semeji in Namibia by the name of Adelpay.
Is the accountant's name Adelpay?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Now I want to take you to the bundle. You have that bundle there? It said, let's go to number 11. Number 11 there.
I'm there, my lord.
Are you there? Identify the document for us.
My lord, this is an affidavit of Adelpay.
Is this the accountant that you were referring to?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Now, in that affidavit, I want you to go to the back, the last page, at page 12.
I'm there, my lord.
And who is the deponent there that signed this affidavit?
Adelpay.
Okay. And it says here it was signed and sworn to before me at Wolfish Bay this, I believe it's 4th day of January 2020. You see that?
Yes, my lord.
And who is the commission of oath that took the statement?
Willem Olivier.
Is this the same Mr. Olafir that you are referring to that testified in your initial bail application?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Now it appears, and it's evident, that this statement was taken from us at Adelpay by Mr. Olafir already in January 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, my lord.
And when did Mr. Olafir come to testify in your bail application?
On the 6th of July,
6th of July, which year?
2020.
2020.
Yes, my lord.
I believe all of us have our calendars. July comes after January.
Yes, my lord.
So when Mr. Olafir came to testify in court, he already obtained this affidavit from Ms. Adelpay.
That's correct, my lord.
And you said Ms. Adelpay is the accountant.
Yes, my lord.
Yes. And I want to take you to, let's go back to the first page.
I'm there, my lord.
At paragraph 2.1, can you please read that for us?
I was served with a summon from the Anti-Corruption Commission, which appears to have been issued in terms of Section 21, Sub 5. Read with Section 26, Sub 1C of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act of 2003. Act number 8 of 2003. On Thursday, the 2nd of January 2020.
Please also read 2.2.
In regards to the summons received, I agreed to be questioned and to produce documentation pertaining to the Semeji group of companies and or its subsidiary in Namibia and other entities with whom they conducted or purported to have conduct business.
Conducted business.
Correct, my lord.
And at 3.1, it says that I'm a qualified chartered accountant and provide professional services. You see that?
Yes, my lord. That's correct.
Have you read this affidavit, Mr. Hatuikulipi?
My lord, I read the affidavit.
And in this affidavit, does Ms. Adelpe say that there were no consultancy services performed by Irongo Clearing and Forwarding or your other company, JTH?
There is no such a statement, my lord, in Ms. Adelpe's affidavit.
In fact, what does she say? Let's go to page 7 of that affidavit of paragraph 5.3, and then you take us through so that we can see what Ms. Adelpe is actually saying.
5 point?
5.3.1 from 5.3.
5.3
Yes.
says JTH Trading CC. My lord, JTH Trading CC is my company. 5.3.1, she said, Mermaria Seafood Namibia Pty paid a total of 27,356,287.40 to JTH Trading CC during the period of 2016 to December 2017. Appendix AP 011 contains an extract of the vendor ledgers as well as invoices from JTH Trading CC for consulting fees.
For consulting fees.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Proceed 5.3.2.
Saga Seafood Pty Limited paid a total of 20,786,250 to JTH Trading CC during the period of March 2018 to September 2019. Appendix AP 012 contains an extract of the vendor ledgers as well as significant invoices received from JTH Trading CC for consulting fees.
It says again for consulting fees.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. 5.4. We are almost done, Mr. Hatuikulipi.
Mermaria Seafood Namibia
First, read
Pty.
that one. For which company is that?
Sorry, my lord. Irongo Clearing and Forwarding CC.
Okay. Proceed.
Mermaria Seafood Namibia Pty Limited paid a total of 29,932,800 to Irongo Clearing and Forwarding CC during the period of May 2014 to June 2018. Appendix AP 013 contains an extract of the vendor ledger as well as invoices received from Irongo Clearing and Forwarding for consulting fees and other document preparation.
So what the accountant, Mr. Delpe, is saying, or at least informed Mr. Willowfield from this affidavit that you gave to him, the statement, is that JTH Trading was paid by Mermaria Seafood and Saga Seafood for consultancy fees.
That's correct, my lord.
And Irongo Clearing was paid by Mermaria Seafood for consultancy fees and or document preparation.
That's right, my lord.
Now, you said Mr. Willowfield came to testify in your initial bail application. That was now in July, after having received the statement, that the accountant said that there was no consultancy services provided by yourself.
That's what he testified, my lord.
And was he honest that time when he was testifying to that?
My lord, Mr. Oliphant was dishonest, my lord. He misled the court. And he was the only one that had this affidavit of Adelphi.
My lord, for the court's convenience, Mr. Oliphant's testimony. Apologies, my lord. Regarding the accountant, my lord, can be found at page 804 of the record, my lord. My lord, may Mr. Delpay's affidavit then be handed up and marked as exhibit. Are we now at 6B5?
No objection, Madam.
I want you to take you to a specific part.
So that I got the exhibit. Adult is marked exhibit B5. You may proceed.
Is there anything else that you can perhaps recall that Mr. Oliphant was not honest about in his testimony in your initial bail application?
My lord, during my previous bail application, Mr. Oliphant brought a photograph of Mr. Esau and Mr. Torsten from Semeji. He testified that that photo was taken at my house in Kleine Kupe. Indicated that that photo was for Semeji. There was apparently a meeting at my house to discuss how Semeji can enter the Namibian fishing industry. When I read the affidavit of Johannes, he said that he took a photo of Mr. Esau and Torsten during October 2015 at my house. What was discussed was that they wanted to increase their capacity, vessel capacity or something like that. Cannot remember now. That's all that was discussed. And they talk about the industry. That's what Mr. Johannes testified. My lord, there is context to that picture. During October 2015, Mr. Esau had come to my house from the farm to drop off his grandson, my son. After a weekend spent with his grandson at the farm. So he found Mr. Stephenson and Mr. Torsten at my house, and my other friends. Franz Neumbo was also there. Franz is a friend of mine. And he found Mr. Johannes Stephenson and Torsten at my house because I had a relationship with them. So Johannes took that picture briefly after my father-in-law, Mr. Esau, came to drop off his grandson. And that was in October 2015. In 2012, Semeji was already fishing in the Namibian water. After, we have assisted Semeji. Now, Mr. Oliphant is saying October 2015 or 2015 is the time that it was discussed how Semeji could enter the Namibian fishing ground. Semeji was already fishing since 2012. If you count 2012, 13, 14, 15, they were already fishing for about 4 years. So I don't know where did Mr. Oliphant got that from, my lord.
Let us quickly go to the testimony of Mr. Olafir. Here's at page 805. Page 805 of the record. I'm going to hand you 2 documents now. Lord, the first one is actually at page 583 of the bail record. It's marked as Exhibit C2, and in that record, my lord, it's a picture. It's my lord 583.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yes. And that document was marked as Exhibit C2 in the initial bail record. Now I'll briefly read a portion from the record for your convenience, Mr. Hatuikulipi, and then you must please answer a few questions.
As I read.
No, I will read for you.
Oh, okay.
So at page 805 of the record, at your initial bail application, Exhibit C bundle. And the court said this is now 2C2. Mr. Letubesi said, yes, my lord. The said photo, or then it was testified, yes, my lord. The said photo that we are now here with is a photo that depicts Mr. Bernhard Esau and one official of the Icelandic company, the one that we talk about. So according to information relating to this photograph, depicts the minister in the house of Tamson Hatuikulipi, where a meeting took place, as I have discussed, regarding the setting up of this commission of the offense in order to enter the Namibian fishing market. Was that what Mr. Olafir testified?
Yes, my lord.
Now, here he's saying that that Exhibit C2, do you have that picture there?
Yes, my lord.
And why in those pictures? Who's in that picture?
Mr. Esau and Mr. Torsten.
And he said this was a meeting that took place for the setting up of the commission of the offense in order to enter the Namibian market.
That's what Mr. Oliphant testified.
And what does Mr. Johannes Stefansson say in his affidavit that you have read at this particular meeting concerning that picture?
He said he took this picture during October 2015 at my house, my lord.
And at 2015, did the Samerji group of companies, did they already enter the fishing market in Namibia?
Yes, my lord. Samerji entered the Namibian fishing industry since 2012.
Does Mr. Johannes Stephenson, in his statement, say that at this meeting at your house, there were discussions on how to enter the Namibian fishing market?
No, my lord.
So when Mr. Olivier was testifying about this at your initial bail application during July 2020, was he telling the truth to the court at that point in time?
He was not telling the truth, my lord.
Can you please return that document for me? Apologies, my lord, I'm just clearing up some space. Now, having dealt with Mr. Olafier's dishonesty, we can move on, Mr. Hatuikulipi. You were still busy explaining why, in your view, you think the state does not have a strong case against you. Is there anything else that you want to state there?
No, that's all, my lord.
Okay. Now, the state also alleges in its summary of substantial facts that the accused Namibian and Icelandic role players agreed that $500 per metric ton would constitute 25% of the actual usage fee, and that 75% of the remaining usage fee would be paid to an offshore bank account, which was subsequently established by Mr. James Hatuikulipi, one of your co-accused, as Tunduvala Invest Limited, a company incorporated in Dubai, and that in essence the 75% of the monies concerning this alleged scheme was paid to Dubai. Now, you've received disclosure. In this disclosure, did you see any proof or documentation from the state side that establishes that 75% of this quota usage fee was in fact paid into the bank account of Tunduvala?
My lord, there was no statement in the disclosure from the state.
Any bank statements?
Nothing, my lord.
And were you aware that there's even a bank account in Dubai?
Not at all, my lord.
Do you have access to this particular bank account that they're alleging?
Not at all, my lord.
Were you aware that there was such an arrangement that 25% of the usage fee would be paid in Namibia and the 75% in Dubai?
My lord, I was not aware.
So what they are saying is part of the 75% would be used for the benefit of the accused person. Did you receive any monies from an account in Dubai or from overseas?
No, my lord. I did not receive funds from overseas or from Dubai.
Now, that is in respect of the Nemgomar case. But the state is further alleging, in the summary of substantial facts that was provided, is that there was an illegal scheme or conspiracy with the co-accused to amend the Marine Resources Act. Were you involved in such a scheme?
My Lord, I was not involved.
It is further alleged that this amendment was a conspiracy by the accused persons to enable fishing rights to be awarded to non-right holders, and in particular, Fishrot. Were you involved in any of such a elaborate scheme?
My Lord, I was not involved. My Lord, I'm not a government employee. I was not involved in such a thing.
And from the disclosure, is there any witness statements alleging that you were involved in, or that you could recall, or evidence that you were part of any meeting where this amendment was discussed?
Nothing, my Lord. There is no such a statement.
Could you see any evidence as part of the record that you were involved in making misrepresentations to cabinet to ensure that fishing quotas are awarded to Fishrot?
My Lord, as I've indicated, I'm not a government employee. I was nowhere in a government meeting to discuss amendment. That is not at my level. I am a businessman. I'm not a government employee.
We are now referring to the disclosure that you've received. Did you see anything to that effect?
Nothing, my Lord.
Okay. Mr. Hatuikulipi, we will deal with this aspect a little bit later when we deal with your version of events.
Okay, my Lord.
But for now, let us move on to the fifth ground, or your fifth new fact. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there, my Lord.
Now, the state added additional charges not canvassed in the initial bail application. Can you please elaborate on that?
My Lord, that we were provided with the indictment, there are now 42 counts of charges. During my previous bail application, there was 12 counts of charges. And out of those 12 counts of charges, I was charged with 6 counts. Now I'm charged with 17 counts, my Lord.
My Lord, I believe my learned friend Mr. Metcalf already provided the court with a copy of the indictment. Or the state actually, in fact, provided the court with it.
I just can't remember who provided it to me, but I do have the indictment.
The indictment. Yes. So you're saying that you are facing 17 charges from, in terms of the indictment that you were provided?
Yes, my Lord.
My Lord, we have summarized we've prepared a summary for the court's convenience in terms of the actual counts that the applicant is facing, my Lord. I beg leave to hand up a copy. Apologies, my Lord. My learned friend for the state is just briefly reviewing the summary that we've prepared.
My Lord,
Yes.
can I drink water? Thank you, Lord.
It would appear, my lord, that the affirmative nod I received from the state side would indicate that our summary is accurate. You may-
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Mr. Hatuikulipi, I will just briefly outline in brief the charges that you are facing. Count 1 is racketeering in terms of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. Count 2 is also racketeering under POCA. When I say POCA, I refer to the Prevention of Organized Crime Act.
Yes.
Count 3 is money laundering. Count 6 is contravening Section 46B of the Anti-Corruption Act. I will refer to that as the ACC Act.
Okay.
Count 7 is contravening Section 34B of the ACC Act. Count 8 to count 10, the 3 counts actually fraud, all of them. Count 9 is fraud, tax evasion in respect of Namgumar, Namibia's taxes. Count 11, no, count 10, sorry, is fraud, tax evasion, personal tax for the period of your personal tax for the period of 2014 to 2019. Count 11 is contravening Section 18, subsection 2, subsection A of the Righteous Assemblies Act 17 of 1956. Conspiracy to commit fraud. It also relates to tax evasion. Count 18, 19, and 20 relates to contravening Section 46, subsection B of the Anti-Corruption Act. Count 27 is fraud, alternatively theft. Count 31 is contravening Section 4B, 1 and subsection 2 Roman of POCA. Count 39 is contravening Section 46B of the ACC Act. And count 40 is theft. And then the last count is count 41, contravening Section 4B, sub-Roman 1 and sub-Roman 2 of POCA. Do you understand the charges that are leveled against you?
Yes, my lord.
And how do you intend to plead to these charges that I just listed?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Mr. Hatuikulipi, I previously referred to the summary of substantial facts. My lord, I do have a copy for the court's convenience of a summary of the substantial facts. I beg leave to hand up. Also beg leave to hand one to the applicant.
Thank you.
Are you there, Mr. Hatuikulipi?
Yes.
So this is go to page 3. You will see there the summary of substantial facts.
Some there, my lord.
Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, I will just briefly touch on few aspects in the summary of substantial facts, and then I will afford you an opportunity to respond as well as to give us your version of events.
Okay, my lord.
Now, what the state is alleging is that during 2011, an Icelandic fishing company, Samherji HF, sought an opportunity to explore the Namibian fishing industry. During the said period, Tamson Fitty, who is the son-in-law to Mr. Bernhard Esau, the erstwhile Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, was introduced to the representatives of Samherji HF, namely Helgason Adelstein, Ingvar Juliusson, and Johannes Stefansson, at a meeting which resulted in some Herji representatives being introduced to other Namibian role players who stand as accused persons in this matter. The accused, acting with a common purpose, devised a scheme to access fishing quotas in Namibia in favor of some Herji and for the benefit of Namibian co-accused. This scheme resulted in the entering into a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the government of the Republic of Namibia through the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources and the government of the Republic of Angola through the Ministry of Fisheries on cooperation in the areas of fisheries and aquaculture, which was then signed on 18 June 2014 by Mr. Bernhard Esau and Mrs. Victoria de Barros Neto as representatives of their respective governments. The state is further alleging that as a result of the signing of the MOU, Mr. Bernhard Esau, under the guise that the MOU was a fisheries agreement, awarded fishing quotas to Nemgomar Pescas SA, a company purportedly incorporated in Angola as a joint venture between Namibian and Angolan role players. It's further alleged that as a result of this scheme under the MOU, the Ministry of Fisheries allocated 50,000 metric tons of horse mackerel fishing quotas to Nemgomar Pesca SA during the period 2014 to 2019, and which was in fact received by a Namibian company named Nemgomar Pescas Namibia. It's further alleged that the accused Namibian and Icelandic role players further agreed that the $500 per metric ton would only constitute 25% of the actual usage fee, and that 75% of the remaining usage fee would be paid to an offshore bank account, which was subsequently established by James Hatuikulipi as Tunduvala Invest Limited, a company incorporated in Dubai with Mr. James Hatuikulipi as the sole shareholder. And lastly, then, it's alleged that as a result of this scheme, the Namibian role players benefited from funds received from the Samherji group either in their personal capacity or via the entities they had interest in, such as Nemgomar Pesca. And then there's reference to some of your CCs, Irango Clearing Forward and CC, JTH Trading, Fitty Entertainment, and so the list goes on. So you now understand what the crux of the state's case is in essence relating to Nemgomar.
Understand, my lord.
Mr. Hatuikulipi,
Yes, my lord.
you are now afforded an opportunity to explain to the Honorable Court your version of events. What transpired, and you can start off in 2011 with regards to meeting with the Icelandic.
My lord, in 2011, I was introduced to Johannes Stephenson at Hilton Hotel by a former schoolmate of mine by the name of Nobeth Chombonde. At this meeting, I was introduced as Tamson Fitty, businessman. At this meeting, Johannes mentioned of Semeji group of intention of doing business in Namibia. He also told me that he had messed up the operation of his employer in Morocco, which cost his employer a loss of approximately 2.5 million US dollar, mainly due to his alcohol. And
Hatuikulipi, for interrupting. My learned friend for the stage just indicated that you must just go a
More
little
slowly.
bit slower and pause a bit more
Okay.
to allow them to make some notes.
Sorry, Mr. Marondesi.
You can proceed.
Mainly due to his alcohol and substance abuse, which took away his focus from the business. Now he wanted to use Namibia to redeem himself to his employer. Following the granting of fishing rights to new right holders in the fishing industry. He further told me that representative of other foreign companies from China, Korea, Netherlands, Russia, and them now the Icelandic, they had come to Namibia looking for fishing opportunities in the fishing sector. At our second meeting, Johannes Stephenson was with his colleagues, introduced to me as Mr. Alderstein Helgesen and Mr. Ingwa Juliusen, Chief Financial Officer for Semeji. Johannes Stephenson.
Just take it.
Oh, sorry, okay.
You said at your second meeting,
Okay.
Johannes Stephenson was with a colleague who was known or introduced to you as Mr. Adelstein Helgesen.
Correct.
Yes, you can proceed from there.
And Ingwa Juliusen. At this meeting, Johannes Stephenson presented to me the profile of Semeji group of companies on a slideshow. Also, at this meeting, Johannes Stephenson inquired about my recent wedding that was roughly 1 month before we met. I was surprised when he asked me that.
What did he introduce to you?
What did he? Sorry, my lord.
Introduce to you?
His colleagues.
Was it not? Did you not say a profile company?
Oh, they are all present.
Yes.
Oh,
all present.
he presented to me a profile of Semeji group of companies, my lord.
All right.
At this meeting,
Just
oh,
a bit.
sorry.
Yes. You must look at us when we are writing notes. You will see.
Oh,
Then you can proceed.
okay,
Yes.
my lord.
Let
can
me
proceed.
be fair. Mr. Ipinge, are you catching up?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Thank you. You may proceed.
At this meeting, Johannes Stephenson inquired about my recent wedding. That was 1 month before we met. My lord, I was surprised when he asked me that. So I asked him, where did you get that information from? He told me, Tamson, don't worry. So he asked me to see the pictures of my wedding. I showed him and his colleagues few pictures that was on my phone. This was a quick meeting as they were expecting their lawyers shortly after our meeting.
What happened?
Johannes Stephenson requested for a follow-up meeting the following day, which was to be coordinated or arranged by Nobel. The following day, this meeting never took place as it had been planned. as Nobeth kept promising to call me so that we can attend the meeting, but he never did.
Continue.
Yes,
Since,
proceed.
since then, I had to travel with other business matters. I left the same day for Hobabes to attend to my business. While being in Hobabes, I got a call from Johannes Stephenson, directly engaging or inquiring of my availability to meet. We agreed to meet in Windhoek at Hilton Hotel upon my return the next day. Can I proceed?
Yeah.
At this meeting, in the presence of Semeji's representative, Mr. Ingwa Juliusen, Mr. Aldersten Helgeson, and Johannes Stephenson.
Repeat those names.
Mr. Ingwa Juliusen, Mr. Aldersten Helgeson, and Mr. Johannes Stephenson.
Yes.
Johannes Stephenson informed me of their intention to access the new right holders in the fishing industry with the hope of partnering with them to catch their fishing quotas.
Okay.
He further indicated to me that this was also discussed with Nobeth few months ago, but no success had been achieved.
Yes.
They sought introduction to new right holders who were grouped in arrangement known as joint ventures.
Yeah.
So that they can avail their fishing vessels to catch their fishing quotas.
Yeah.
A joint venture, it comprised of 5 companies in each, who were awarded fishing rights by the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. So this means in a JV, there was 5 companies. They were grouped together. That group was named a JV. Those companies were awarded fishing rights by the Ministry of Fisheries. At the time, my lord, there was 10 joint ventures. JV1, JV2, 3, 4, up to 10. My lord, I will pause here to explain my understanding of the Namibian fishing legislation and fishing policies that has always been and still is that from time to time, applications for fishing rights could be made by Namibian companies or Namibian citizens for the awarded of fishing rights. Right.
Yeah.
Companies or people who are awarded fishing rights, my lord, they are called or referred to as right holders.
What else?
A right holder. The companies or the people who are awarded fishing rights by the ministry, they are called right holders.
Yeah. May I proceed?
Then the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources allocates fishing quotas seasonally to the existing right holders.
Yeah.
Right holders who do not have their own fishing vessels, whom are awarded fishing rights, who are allocated fishing quotas by the Ministry of Fisheries, they may enter into a catching agreement or usage agreement with the owners of the fishing vessels to catch their fishing quotas.
Yeah.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, before you proceed, I will allow you an opportunity to proceed with your story now. Just to recap, this fishing industry is quite a difficult crab to get hold of. And when I say crab, I refer to fish crab, not. So what you just explained to the court now is that, firstly, there must be a Namibian company that applies to the ministry, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. And then the ministry will then,
A Namibian company,
a Namibian company.
or a Namibian people, a Namibian citizen,
It must only be Namibian.
only Namibian.
Okay. And then you apply for rights, fishing rights.
That's correct.
Okay. And these fishing rights can be now for what? What type of fishing rights? Horse mackerel?
Hey, it can be any
Okay.
species.
So then you now get this right. I'm entitled to catch fish, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But before I can catch the fish, as you are explaining, you first need to get a quota.
No. You must first be a right holder.
Yes, you are already a right holder. And then what happens after that?
Then you can be allocated a fishing quota.
So then I'm now allocated with a fishing quota, for example, horse mackerel or hake.
Correct.
Okay.
My lord, a fishing right means a right to harvest marine resources, granted under Section 33 of the Marine Resources Act. A fishing quota means part of the TAC, total allowable catch, which may be harvested by a right holder or a group of right holder in respect of a given marine resources, allocated under Section 39 of the Marine Resources Act. My lord, this means that if you are a right holder, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources can allocate fishing quotas to you. If you are not a right holder, the Ministry of Fisheries cannot allocate fishing quotas to you.
Okay.
My lord,
That is clear. I will allow you to proceed now.
my lord, Semeji group of companies are not right holders. Semeji group of company does not qualify to be awarded fishing rights in Namibia. Semeji group of companies cannot be allocated fishing quotas by the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources of Namibia. Semeji group of company can only enter into a catching agreement, also called as usage agreement, with the right holders in the fishing sector to catch their fishing quotas, my lord.
Okay, that is quite clear, Mr. Hatuikulipi. You can proceed.
My lord, I am not a right holder. None of my companies or entities own a right to harvest marine resources, which is a precondition to access fishing quotas. So the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources cannot allocate fishing quotas to me or to any of my entity. The law is very clear, my lord.
And you testified that Samherji was trying to enter this market. What was your involvement then?
My lord, I assisted Semeji. It was on this background, my lord, that I became involved in assisting Semeji to partner up with the new right holders in the fishing industry to catch their fishing quotas. Semeji and I initially entered in a MOU with their entity SCMR Fishing, Cutler, and myself as a partner.
What was the basis of this agreement?
It's an MOU. It's for me to assist Semeji.
That is now to partner with the Namibian fishing right holders.
The MOU is between Semeji and myself as a partner to assist them so that they can partner with the Namibian right holders to catch their fishing quotas.
Do you have your bundle there, Mr. Hatuikulipi?
It's with me, my lord.
The document number 1. Can you please identify this document for us?
My lord, this is a memorandum of understanding entered into between SCMR Fishing Pty Limited, called Cutler, and Tamson Fitty Hatuikulipi as a partner.
Is this the MOU that you were referring to?
Yes, my lord.
Can you please go to page 3?
Page what, my lord?
Page 3.
And there, my lord.
On what date was this agreement signed?
On the 17th of December, 2011.
And it was signed on behalf of Cutler, duly authorized. Do you know who signed there?
Johannes Stephenson.
Okay. Did you also sign?
Yes, I signed as a partner.
My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the MOU. We mark this an exhibit. Oh, it's already part of the bundle. I believe we are at exhibit B6 now.
Just typing it.
No objection, my lord. My lord, before...
B6.
Sorry. Then B6, my lord.
Yes.
My lord, before I forget, I've already handed up a copy of the summary of substantial facts.
Yes.
Can that one then just be marked as exhibit C, my lord, if there's no objection from my learned friend for the state?
No objection.
Document summary of substantial facts is marked Exhibit C.
May I proceed, my lord?
You may do so.
Yes, Mr. Hatuikulipi, you. So, and after this agreement, you can please proceed with your version of events.
My lord, we eventually sign more specific consultancy agreement with my entities, Erongo Clearing and Forwarding, and JTH Trading CC to govern our relationship. Agreements.
Agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, my lord, at the time, so my my initial task, my lord, was to identify the new right holders and introduce them to Semeji and to convince them to sign long-term catching agreement with Semeji. At the time, there was no public database for the new right holders in the Namibian fishing industry.
Can you just pause there?
Okay.
I want to take you to, you're still at the bundle document number 2. Under number 2, can you please identify the document for us?
My lord, this is a consultancy agreement between Erongo Clearing and Forwarding and Katla Seafood, Namibia.
That's the consultancy agreement you refer to?
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. And what is the date there of this agreement? It's made, it must be there in the first paragraph. It's made on?
1st of January 2014.
2014. Okay. And did you sign this agreement?
Yes, my lord.
If you go to Schedule 1, page 6, their agreement, what does it say? What was the consultant required to do?
Advising the company in the respect of relationship with key role players and right holders in the fishing industry in Angola and Namibia. Assisting the company to establish contacts and meetings where required to distribute fish product or any all activity incidental to the above.
And these key role players and right quota holders, are these the right holders that you were referring to?
My lord, the right holders was based on the first agreement, the MOU. I want to make it clear to the court. If we get back to the MOU, my lord,
Yes.
at A, it says the partner has to declare its willingness to assist Katla to enter into agreement with the participant in the Namibian fishing industry. B, Katla is a company incorporated in Namibia, wholly owned by major Icelandic companies and vessel owners, willing to enter into a new joint venture agreement or cooperation agreement with the partners for horse mackerel quota. The partner has the access and means to assist Katla to achieve and receiving fishing quota of horse mackerel with the option of 8 quotas as well.
Okay.
So, my Lord, it was at this point that I approached my cousin, James Hatuikulipi.
Before you proceed, Mr. Hatuikulipi, just to go back to this agreement, my Lord, if there's no objection, I beg you to end up the consultancy agreement, forms part of the bundle, to be marked as Exhibit B7.
No objection, ma'am.
Consultants agreement marked Exhibit B7.
As it pleases the court. You just earlier said, Mr. Hatuikulipi testified that it was at this point that you then approached your cousin, James Hatuikulipi, after the conclusion of the first MOU.
That's correct.
Yes, can you please proceed?
So, my Lord, it was at this point that I approached my cousin, James Hatuikulipi, to assist me to identify the new right holders in the fishing industry and to convince them to sign a long-term catching agreement with Semeji during end of December 2011. So James Hatuikulipi agreed to assist me with the opportunity that presented itself. My Lord, I specifically approached James Hatuikulipi because of his commercial experience in Namibia and because of his vast network in various sectors in the Namibian economy. Because at the time, he also had a better understanding of the fishing industry.
Yes.
Beginning of 2012, first week of January, my memory served me well.
Which year was that?
2012, beginning of 2012. I then introduced James Hatuikulipi at his house to Semeji's representative, Johannes Stephenson, Mr. Ingwa Juliusen, and Mr. Aldesten Helgesen.
At his house.
At James' house in Window.
Yes.
They disclosed to James Hatuikulipi and myself that their own efforts by convincing the right holders in the fishing sector in Namibia failed. They could not get it right.
Yes.
They further indicated to James and myself that a deployment of a fishing vessel would be viable if 3 joint venture right holders sign a long-term catching agreement with Semeji.
Yes.
In this respect, my Lord, James Hatuikulipi and myself worked hard to identify the new right holders in the fishing sector and introduce them to Semeji.
Yes.
We managed to convince 2 joint venture right holders, JV2 called Cinco. It's the name of the JV company, my Lord. Cinco.
Yes.
And JV7 called Yuko to sign a catching agreement with Semeji for 12 months. To evaluate Semeji's capacity and to build trust for the long term.
You said it's Cinco and which?
And Yuko. Yuko.
Okay.
Yes, JV7 Yuko.
Sorry, Mr. Hatuikulipi, before you proceed, you previously testified, just for clarity's sake, that these joint venture companies consists of 5 companies in one.
That's correct.
So 5 different Namibian companies then form a joint venture.
That's correct, my Lord.
For example, in Cinco, that would be the case.
That's correct, my Lord.
Okay. You can proceed. You were last to evaluate
To sign, agreement was signed for 12 months, my Lord, to evaluate Semeji's capacity and to build trust for the long term. Because the joint venture members were made to believe by other operators in the fishing sector that Semeji will not honor its obligations to pay them, due to the reputation that Iceland was left from global economic crisis, my Lord. So in this case, we said, okay, if that's the case, go for a 12-month catching agreement to build trust for long term and to evaluate Semeji's capacity. My Lord, a vessel was deployed for these purposes. A crew of Namibians were employed on this vessel in February 2012.
Yes.
My Lord, Johannes Stephenson was excited. I made his dream come true in Namibia. So I told Johannes Stephenson that you don't need to get excited. This is only a 12-month catching agreement. We still have to convince these joint ventures right holders to sign a long-term catching agreement with Semeji. So does I continue?
Yes.
Yes.
So I told Johannes Stephenson what we must do to convince these people more. We need to take them to those operations of Semeji that you were showing me when you were doing a presentation to me of Semeji group of companies. I continue?
Yes.
So my Lord, Johannes Stephenson took my advice. End of 2012, Johannes Stephenson organized a trip to Iceland for the JV members from Cinco and Yuko, JV2 and 7, to visit the operations of Semeji, to evaluate Semeji's capacity and credibility, and to build trust for the long term, my Lord.
You said when was that?
End of 2012.
Yes.
My Lord, although an invitation was extended to me by Semeji to visit the operation in Iceland, I could not travel to Iceland, as my wife and I recently became parent to our first child. Due to that reason, I couldn't travel, my Lord.
Yeah.
Having been satisfied with the commercial arrangement, joint venture right holders JV2 Cinco, JV7 Yuko concluded or signed a long-term catching agreement with Semeji during September-October 2013.
Yes.
We were still in talk with two other JVs, JV3 and JV5. JV3 ended up signing up with a Chinese company. We managed to convince JV5 later in 2014. JV5 later in 2014 also concluded a long-term catching agreement with the remainder of their right period, my Lord.
What is the name of JV5?
Epango.
Epango.
Epango. Epango.
This numbering of these JVs, JV2, JV7, where is it appearing? Is it in these documents or according to you?
No, that's how they were numbered by the Ministry of Fisheries. That's how they were called. And they were given now. It's now 5 companies that were put together.
Okay.
And then those companies decide now how to name their company.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So the names of the 3 JVs was Cinco,
Correct.
Ucor,
Correct.
and Ipango.
That's correct, my Lord.
You've also testified that we, when you're referring to we, who are you talking about?
Me and James Hatuikulipi.
Okay. You then managed to convince these companies to sign long-term catch agreements with Samerji.
That's correct.
And when you say long-term, what do you mean long-term catch agreement?
My Lord, right holders, they are catching their right period was for 7 years, my Lord. From January, if you count, 2012 up to 2018, 7 years. And their rights will expire in 7 years. They still have to reapply.
You can then proceed.
My Lord, joint venture members, right holders, were not easy to deal with, as they were constantly being courted by other operators, offering different terms and further offering better quota fees per ton. We further had to manage various demands from the joint venture members, as they were also demanding upfront payments, as they were made to believe by other operators in the fishing sector that Semerji will not honor its obligations.
Yes.
This was an ongoing task, my lord, during the negotiation. For my time expended and work done, Semeji paid my consultancy fee or retainer fees into my designated entity. So I tell Semeji where to pay, which is not a crime, my lord. For that reason, why I did that was to grow my businesses and to have a good relationship with financial institution. So if Semeji, for example, have to pay me $1 million, I tell them, put 500 here in this company, put 500 in the other company. So I tell them, with the assistance of James Hatuikulipi, because he was working for me that time, I've employed him to assist me. I also need to pay him something, my lord.
So were you paying Mr. Hatuikulipi as you were receiving payments from Samerji?
Yes, some of the payment when I received from Semeji, because I was doing a lot of work with Semeji, a lot of businesses. So when I get a payment from Semeji, my lord, for his assistance, I also need to give him something. He really worked hard in assisting with the joint ventures. He really convinced them, my lord.
Yes.
So, my lord, again, Johannes Stephenson requested me to manage their new stakeholder relationship.
New stakeholder.
They are the relationship now, new stakeholder relation between now them and the JVs. And to provide guidance to the company and to assist the company to get clients that can buy the fish product from Semeji. So I concluded a consultancy agreement individually for my fees under my business entity, Erongo Clearing and Forwarding, CC, which we signed on the 1st of January, 2014. That is the agreement now, my lord. It's the second one.
The second agreement.
Yeah, in the bundle.
My lord, that particular agreement has been marked as Exhibit B7. So then this then ties in, Mr. Hatuikulipi, with Schedule 1 that refers to manage the stakeholder relations with the right quota.
That's correct.
Quota holders.
That's correct.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
You can then proceed with your testimony.
So, my lord, Johannes Stephenson, after the two JVs have signed, JV2 during September and October, if my memory serves me, and JV7 after they have signed, Johannes Stephenson sought my assistance and advice on how to enter the Angolan water. He told me he had traveled to Luanda, Angola once or twice to no avail. He was not succeeding. So I told Johannes Stephenson that doing business in Angola is not easy. Number one, you must know how to speak Portuguese, and the people must also trust you. Angolans have trust issues. So by 2013, I was aware that Ricardo Gustavo, accused number one, was involved in the fishing sector in Angola. Because Ricardo Gustavo approached me to discuss certain aspect of fishing sector, where he was experiencing Can I continue?
Yeah.
We was experiencing distribution challenges on account of infrastructure, the general economy, and the regulation. Our discussion with Ricardo Gustavo, me and Ricardo Gustavo, culminated in a verbal agreement between myself and his business associate in Angola regarding the business in Angola. Importantly, my lord, I was able to share a list of my clients in Angola to Ricardo Gustavo.
Yeah.
Which was a list of businesses, of clients that was looking for frozen fish for onward selling in the Angolan market.
Yeah.
But could no longer source from Namibia as foreign exchange regulations in Namibia trap payments. Well,
The reason?
foreign exchange regulations from Angola, the trap payment.
Yeah.
My lord, this can be recalled on the Chicago businesses. They were also deeply affected by this situation. As we are speaking today, Oshikango is a ghost town, my lord. It was affected by that situation. That's why those clients of mine could not come buy fish in Namibia anymore. And they wanted to buy fish. So I shared now my client with Ricardo Gustavo.
Yeah.
So Ricardo Gustavo and his business associate, they took over my clients. And they've committed as part of the business arrangement to pay me a fee from the sale of fish to those clients.
Ricardo and who?
And his business associate from Angola now.
Yeah.
Despite the difficulty exchange control imposed, they were able to raise the fund locally, for which they requested me to submit my invoice for my payment.
Yeah.
So I receive money into my companies, Erongo Clearing and Forwarding, from a company called Namgoma Peshka, Namibia. An amount of 400,000, my lord.
You repeat that? I did not hear well about that company.
Despite the difficulty control, my lord, imposed, they were able, Ricardo and his business associate now in Angola, they were able to raise the fund locally because they couldn't pay me from Angola because of that foreign exchange regulation.
Yes.
So they made the agreement, I don't know how.
Yes.
So they requested me to invoice them for my payments. So a payment of 400,000 was paid into my company, Erongo Clearing and Forwarding, from a company called Namgoma Peshka, Namibia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, Mr. Martinez. Sorry.
Okay.
My lord, I see that it's almost 1 o'clock and my learned friends for the state have requested that we should take at least a 5-minute earlier lunch break, my lord.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
Okay, time, my lord. We will then adjourn until 2:15, or is it 2 o'clock, my lord? When the end of the court.
2:15.
2:15. Can you leave the court?
Okay, we'll adjourn for lunch. We'll resume at 2:15.
May I proceed, my lord?
Yes, you may do so.
Yes, Mr. Hatuikulipi, prior to the lunch break, you testified and explained to court in relation to payments that you received from Namgumari in the amount of 400,000. Yes. Anything else you want to add on that before we conclude on that topic?
My lord, I want to add something. When the two JVs have signed for long-term catching agreement, Johannes informed me that there were cash flow challenges in their Namibian business at the time, for which I invoiced them in 2014, May 2014. So Johannes told me I can now invoice in 2014. In 2012 January, I received a payment from Semeji of 300,000. It's an advance payment. 2012 January, the beginning. January
Okay.
2012.
I thought you were making reference to invoices that were not paid because of cash flow problems.
Yeah, before that, I'm going to address that now, my lord.
All right.
2011, not 2012 January,
Yes.
I informed Johannes because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because of that guy, my lord. I must do this and this and this.
My lord, sorry, apologies, my lord. Before we proceed, if the court only may just please address the people outside of court because it's a bit disturbing.
Okay.
So every time he called me,
Yeah.
I was traveling and he wanted to meet me.
Okay.
So I told him I'm a businessman. I also have to attend to my other businesses.
Yeah.
So we agreed. We came to an agreement. He's decided that, okay, they will pay me advance payment to cover my cost, for which a payment of 300,000 was paid into my company, Fitty Entertainment CC.
That was in
2012 January.
yes.
From there, we agreed that payments will only be forthcoming after success of signing joint venture right holders for long term. After that payment was now made.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make it clear to the court
All right.
before I proceed.
And then it was successful, you said, in 2014.
Excuse me?
It was successful then in 2014, the agreements with the JVs.
From 2013.
2013.
First is 2012, the 12-month catching agreement,
Yes.
and then 2013, we convinced them now for a long-term catching agreement.
And then they said you can start invoicing them from May 2014.
Yes, they always tell me themselves.
Okay.
The Tamson invoice now, this certain amount.
And those amounts or those invoices that you sent through was in respect of your consultancy work you did to obtain the right holders' quotas for them.
My lord, those funds are commingled. Some for the JVs that I've introduced them for long term, and some for businesses that I've introduced to Semeji of clients outside Namibia, as far as DRC, Zambia, Mozambique, and Angola, who were purchasing large amount of fish from Semeji.
Thank you, Mr. Hatuikulipi. You can then proceed in explaining your version of events to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my lord, Johannes Stephenson informed me that he was assisted by Ricardo Gustavo to set up some meetings in Luanda, Angola, with the existing quota holder. He further informed me that through this effort, Angolan partners were identified. And they too, they were cautious of the reputation Iceland was left from global economic crisis.
Yeah.
So Johannes further informed me that he was busy organizing a trip for their partners from Angola to visit the operation of Semeji, as there were trust issues regarding the Icelandic.
Yeah.
So Johannes Stephenson requested that this time I have to travel with to Iceland to visit the operation of Semeji, for me to understand the extensive fishing operation of Semeji, as well as to identify cross-selling opportunity for the African market.
Yeah.
So an invitation letter was sent to me by Johannes Stephenson to apply for my Schengen visa. A due diligence trip was arranged for the Angolan partner by Johannes Stephenson during November 2013.
Yeah.
A plane ticket was booked for me by Semeji from Windhoek via Johannesburg, Frankfurt, and Reykjavik.
Sorry, you said Reykjavik.
Reykjavik,
Where is that?
Iceland.
Okay.
Sorry.
You can proceed.
Can I proceed? Hello?
Yes, please.
Sorry, my lord.
Yeah.
So, my lord, I traveled alone with Semeji covering all the cost. Upon my arrival in Reykjavik, Johannes Stephenson introduced me to some employees and management of Semeji in Iceland. I was introduced as Tamson Hatuikulipi, Semeji's business partner from Namibia, Africa. He then introduced me to his guest from Angola, Mr. João de Barros and Antonio Santos, upon their arrival in Reykjavik.
Yes.
I was introduced as Tamson Hatuikulipi, Semeji's business partner from Namibia. That same day in the afternoon, Johannes took myself and Mr. João de Barros and Antonio Santos to Semeji's operations, which are a few kilometers out of Reykjavik. We introduced to their fish farming operation and to their 2 white fish factory that same day.
Yeah.
After a day or 2, my lord, cannot remember the exact date, James Hatuikulipi and Saki Shangala, they arrived in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Yes.
We proceeded to visit further factories of Semeji as far as Akureyri, which is 45 minutes flight from Reykjavik.
Yes.
We visited very impressive factories, technology-wise, my lord. Jealous down is there. After the visiting of the factories, I went for my meeting with the sales manager for Semeji in Iceland.
May I just find out which year was this?
2013 November. Yes, my lord.
Yes. May I proceed?
After the visiting, I went for my meeting with the sales manager of Semeji Group in Iceland to understand what product do they send to Africa and to which country.
Yes.
So after that, my lord, we left Iceland. I went to Namibia. First week of December 2013, the same year, my lord.
Yes.
I got a call from Johannes Stephenson telling me that I must get vaccinated for yellow fever, as he and Sigwa Olesen is his colleague from Iceland. They want me to travel with them to Luanda, Angola.
Sigi who?
Sigwa Olesen, but we used to call him Sigi.
Okay.
S-I-G-G-I, my lord.
Yes.
So I told Johannes Stephenson I was already vaccinated for yellow fever in 2007 when I went to Sao Paulo in Brazil to watch Formula One Grand Prix in 2007. I told him my doctor had told me that that vaccine is valid for 10 years.
Yes.
So I'm good to go. January 2014, Johannes Stephenson, Sigi Olesen, and myself met with Ricardo Gustavo and James Hatuikulipi in Luanda, Angola.
That was in 2014.
Yeah, January. So it's me, Johannes Stephenson, Sigi Olesen, and myself met with Ricardo Gustavo and James Hatuikulipi in Angola to meet the partner of Semeji. The purpose of the meeting was to consult the relevant authority to understand the market and the fishing sector in Angola.
Yes.
So Joe de Barros, Johannes Stephenson, Ricardo Gustavo, James Hatuikulipi, Sigi Olesen, and myself, we were able to have a brief courtesy call on the Ministry of Fisheries in Angola for Semeji to understand the general state of the fishing industry in Angola.
Yes.
So Saki Shangala and Mr. Antonio Santos, they found us at the Ministry of Fisheries in Angola when Joe de Barros was introducing us to the Minister of Fisheries in Angola.
Yeah.
Joao de Barros was telling the minister of their relationship with Semeji, their company in Angola and Semeji.
Yes.
Johannes Stephenson and Sigi, they started asking questions to the minister regarding the general state of the fishing industry in Angola. And the minister told Johannes and Sigi that the fishing industry in Angola needs more development, technology-wise.
Yeah.
So Mr. Antonio joined the discussion, telling Johannes and Sigi that what he saw in Iceland in 2013, he wanted to happen with their company in Angola, technology-wise. in the fishing sector.
Yes.
So Mr. Antonio and Saki Shangala, they started speaking Portuguese with the minister. I don't understand now Portuguese, my lord. Then they left.
Yeah.
So my lord, after a day or 2 days, Johannes Stephenson, Siggy Olesen, and myself, João de Barros and Antonio Santos, we travel along the coastline of Angola for the whole week.
Yeah.
We visited Namibia, Tombwa, Benguela, and Lobito.
Yeah.
For the purpose of doing due diligence on the facilities for distribution of fish, cold store, and other relevant logistics.
Yeah.
The purpose for Semeji was to provide technical capacity on distribution of fish into local market, and to assist the National Fish Distribution Agency, EDIPESCA, whose dilapidated facilities we also visited, my lord.
Yes.
We held various meetings with private sector operators, and after the visiting, we left from Benguela to Luanda.
Yes.
The following day, we left to Namibia. On our way, on our way from Benguela to Luanda, we dropped Mr. Antonio at the ministries in Angola.
Yes.
From there, as we left for Namibia the following day. So Johannes and Siggy, they connect. They went to South Africa.
Yes.
During May 2014, Johannes told me that they want us to travel to Iceland for summer holiday. He said me and James, but he was not sure if James will come along because of his busy schedule. Because they wanted us to experience summer in Iceland.
Yes.
So a trip was arranged by Johannes Stephenson Before that trip, my lord, Johannes told me that, or asked me that I must look into the African market with a dry head of fish in the West African market. Then I asked him, dry head of fish, how does it work? He told me it's a good business. There's serious money. I asked him, how does it operate? He told me, when you go for your summer holiday, I'll arrange a meeting with the drying operation manager for Semeji.
Yes.
So a trip was arranged by Johannes Stephenson. We went to Reykjavik. We toured Iceland. We went to the waterfall. We were doing snow biking, hiking. We went to the Blue Lagoon, where all those famous Americans go. We really had fun. And the experience, our surprise was that during summer in Iceland, there is no darkness, my lord. It's light 24 hours. If you don't look at your time, you might end up not sleeping. So after the tour of 2 days, I asked Johannes Stephenson, when is my meeting with the drying operation manager? So he called the man. He didn't answer. So he returned his call. A meeting was arranged the following day. So we went to that meeting, me and Johannes Stephenson. He introduced me to the old man. He's an old man. So he explained to me how do they do their drying operation. They told me their biggest market is in Nigeria. So after my meeting, I left Iceland for London. So I had to go meet other investors who were interested in investing in mining in Africa. Since I was close to London, so we agreed to meet in London. From Iceland to London is very close. So me, I left Iceland for my other meetings in London. So before
You can proceed.
So Ricardo also arrived in Iceland a day before I left.
Is it Iceland?
In Iceland, that 2014. Ricardo came after, I think, 2 days or 3 days.
After you left for London?
The day I left.
Yeah.
That's the day he came.
Okay.
It's the day I came, or the day after. One of the days, my lord. I cannot remember. But when he came here, I left for London. I'm not sure which day. So in 2015, eventually Semeji could place a vessel in the Angolan water to catch the quota of their partner. Johannes informed me that they had a catching agreement in place between their company and their partners from Angola's company.
Yes.
My lord, I want to make it clear. I've mentioned a catching agreement here between Semeji and their partners from Angola. I was not part of that catching agreement. I was only involved in 3 catching agreements, my lord. JV2, Cinco, JV5, Yuko, JV5, Epango, JV7, Yuko. Those were the only catching agreement I was involved, my lord. I want to make it clear to the court. Any other catching agreements between Semeji or whoever, I don't know how it was negotiated, the way it was negotiated. I was not part of them. I was only part of the trio. JV2 Cinco, 5 Epango, and JV7.
Yes.
So 2015, Johannes Stephenson started complaining to me that his bonus that he felt that he was entitled to by his employer was not being paid. Despite his effort in Angola and Namibia, he wanted to purchase a flat in Reykjavik, Iceland. At that time, I think he had gotten married or he was engaged to his fiancée.
Yes.
And he told me that Katla Seafood, Semeji's company, the mother company from Las Palmas, Spain, was sold to a Russian company. With the vessel, captain, everything, the whole company was sold. So he told me there's a new company called Mermaria Seafood Namibia Pty Limited. In January 2016, Mermaria Seafood Namibia and my entity JTH Trading CC, they entered into a consultancy agreement.
Yes, before you proceed, Mr. Hatuikulipi, do you have your bundle there with you?
Yes, my lord.
Now, you just testified earlier that that Katla Seafood, that company was sold and then the name was changed to Mermaria.
Because the mother company from Spain, Las Palmas, I think it was registered there, it was sold to a Russian company. So in Namibia, there was Katla Seafood, Namibia. So Johannes told me that since that company is now sold to a Russian company, the name they've changed now to Mermaria Seafood Namibia Pty Limited. It's a new company, Mermaria Seafood Pty Limited.
Okay, in the previous agreement you had number B7 under number 2 of the bundle. That one was with Katla Seafood.
That was Katla Seafood Namibia Pty Limited and Erongo Clearing and Pond.
And then there was no more Katla, and then you concluded a new agreement there.
So when the company, when there was now Mermaria, then JTH and JTH and Mermaria, they entered into a consultancy agreement from 2016 to 2018. I'm not mistaken.
Let's go to document number 3, or under the number 3, that bundle.
On them, hello.
Identify the document for us.
It's a consultancy agreement.
When was it made? Made on? The first line there.
This number?
Yes.
Sabiaka,
Just
what number is it?
number 3, my lord.
Okay.
Apologies. The first line after underneath consultancy agreement.
Yeah.
Yes. On what date was this agreement entered into?
Made on 2nd January 2016.
And between who?
Mermaria Seafood Namibia and JTH Trading CC.
Okay. And if you go to page 7 of that agreement,
Zambia, my lord.
what was the consultant's responsibilities in terms of this agreement, you being the consultant?
Advising the company in respect of relations with key role player, right, quota holder in fishing industry in Angola and Namibia. Assisting the company to establish contacts and meetings where required to distribute fish product, and all activities incidental to the above.
This services that you're required to perform, they are similar to that of the previous agreement.
It was the same services, my lord.
My lord, if there's no objection, I believe that
None, my lord.
Leonard's friend is quite fast. We can then mark it as Exhibit B8. Yes, Mr. Hatuikulipi, and you can proceed with explaining your version of events. So you've now concluded this agreement.
Let me just pronounce that this consultants agreement is marked Exhibit B8. May I proceed?
So early 2016, Johannes Stephenson left for Cape Town, South Africa. He told me he was going to meet partners or people whom they were going to assist him or to work with to access fishing quotas, right holders in South Africa. So Johannes Stephenson invited me to Cape Town. He introduced me to his partners from South Africa and some partners from DRC. I was introduced as Tamson Fitty Hatuikulipi, business partner from Namibia. I spent the whole weekend with Johannes Stephenson. He told me the negotiations are going very well in South Africa. They might conclude their agreement in 3 weeks' time. He told me if everything goes well, he will relocate to Cape Town. And he further told me that there are some JV members that are fighting him. JV members that think they understand the fishing, but they don't. So I spent time with him in Cape Town. We went out, we had fun. We got drunk. That was the first time I saw Johannes Stephenson consuming alcohol, my lord. And he told me when he was drunk that Semeji is not a good company. Semeji this and that. He was telling me a lot of things when he was drunk. So I told Johannes that, but in the beginning you told me that Semeji is one of the best company in the world, fishing company in the world. Yes, Tamson, this and that. He's having other operators from Iceland that he want to bring into Namibia. He want to dump his employee. So I told him that. So he needed my assistant to assist him on that. I told him, I don't work like that, Mr. Johannes Stephenson. In the beginning, you told me this. Now you want to change. And these people have already signed long-term catching agreement. So I left Cape Town. I left Johannes there. I think after a month or a month and a half, One day when I was at home with my son, I got a call from Miss Arna Baldwin, Semeji's lawyer. She was introduced to me as a Semeji's lawyer by Johannes Stephenson.
You got a call from Arna?
Arna Baldwinson, McClue.
What did you want?
So I check Arna. What does Arna want? Because she hardly called me. So I answered. Hi, Tamson, how are you? Fine, thanks. How are you? How's the family? Because my son, she could hear my son in the back. I'm fine. How have you been? How's Iceland? She told me that I landed this morning in Windhoek. Are you around? I said, yes, I'm around. I want to see you. So I asked her, where are you staying? She told me she's staying at Hilton Hotel in Windhoek. So we agreed to meet in the afternoon at Hilton Hotel. I met Arna at Hilton Hotel, and she was with her colleague, introduced to me as Mr. Ale Arneson. Ale Arneson. So Arna told me that Johannes' drugs and alcohol abuse have started. He messed up the business in Namibia and money's unaccounted for. Johannes has not been answering telephone calls for the JV members. He has been not responding to their emails on time. That was Arna's story now. Whenever they are calling him, he doesn't pick up. He will get back to them after 2 days or 3 days. So therefore, Arna told me that Mr. Ale Arneson will take over the operation of Semeji in Namibia to clean up Johannes' mess. So she told me they are having meetings with the JV members, JV2, JV5, Mr. Ale Arneson.
Yeah.
So she told me they are meeting the JVs, JV2, Cinco, JV5, Epango, JV7, Yuko.
Yes.
So Mr. Ale and I agreed to meet in a week's time after their meetings with the JVs.
Yes.
We met at Walvish Bay. I explained to Mr. Ale my relationship with Semeji under the persisting consultancy agreement. So Mr. Ale, on behalf of Kari Investment, negotiated new consultancy agreement, which we signed January 2018 between Kari Investment and JTH Trading CC, which the name later changed to Saga Seafood, name of Kari. It was a shelf company, so it changed to Saga Seafood Pty Limited.
So you proceed, Mr. Hatuikulipi. May I just then take you to number 4, point number 4 under the bundle.
4. I'm there.
Are you there?
Yes.
Just give the court an opportunity as well. Yes. Can you please identify the document for us?
It's a consultancy agreement entered the 1st February 2018 between Kari Investment 180 Pty Limited and JTH Trading CC.
Is this the consultancy agreement you just referred to earlier in your testimony?
That's correct, my lord.
My lord, if there's no objection from my learned friend for the state, we beg leave to hand up the consultancy agreement between Kari Investments and JTH Trading to be marked as Exhibit B9.
No objection, my lord.
B9.
So Mr. Ale told me that Johannes Stephenson has embezzled the money from the banking account of the fish shops also. So there were 2 fish shops in the north, one in Ondangwa, one in Oshikangwa. So he told me, Mr. Ale, that he was authorized by his superior to close down those 2 fish shops. So I told Mr. Ale that was my idea, to set up those 2 fish shops. Then Johannes said, since it was my idea, I will get profit share of 50%. So Mr. Ale told me, Tamson, there's nothing I can do. So considering the employees, I negotiated to purchase those 2 fish shops. So I took over those 2 fish shops under my entity, JTH Trading CC, with all the employees, except the manager. So I couldn't afford the manager at the time. Then I expanded the business by opening up a fish shop in Windhoek in 2018. And in 2019, I opened up another fish shop in Windhoek at Okuriangala. Same year, 2019, I opened up another fish shop in Oshakati. Same year, 2019, I opened up another fish shop at Okanjengedi for my brother.
The fish shops you opened in Vendo?
In Windhoek, I opened 2.
Yes.
In 2018, I opened 1. 2019, a second one in Windhoek.
Yes.
Same year, 2019, opened up another fish shop in Oshakati. Sorry, I opened up a fish shop in Oshakati.
Yes.
A lot. The fish shops were doing very well. They were generating good income. So when I was making money, I have to reinvest back into the business. So my plan was to expand to Rundu, Chivarongo, Ukahanja, and Khobabes. But on the 27th of November 2019, I was arrested and detained after I handed myself over to the Namibian police and the ACC official at the police headquarters Windhoek.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, while we are on the aspect of the fish shops, you previously testified that these fish shops were trading under the name of JTH Trading.
JTH Trading CC.
And from where did you buy the fish that you were selling in the shops?
I used to buy some of the fish. I used to buy from Semeji and some for other operators.
Okay. I want you still have the bundle there with you?
It's
Please
with
go
me,
to
my lord.
Number 15.
I'm there, my lord.
Now, under number 15, there is a lot of documents. They with a paper clip. I think it's about 4 separate packs. Is yours also? Number 15.
So I'm there, my lord.
Yes, I don't want you to testify on all of them, but just to briefly identify for us what are these documents?
My lord, there is a tax invoice from Saga Seafood Pty Namibia. Sorry, Saga Seafood Pty Limited to JTH Trading CC as the buyer. Dated 15 April 2019. My lord,
And what was bought there in terms of the invoice?
the fish product that I bought from Semeji Group of Companies.
And what is the amount there that you were invoiced?
367,804.50.
And if you turn the next page,
I'm there, my lord.
please identify for us. Briefly take us through.
My lord, this is a tax invoice from Saga Seafood Pty Limited, dated on the 3rd of June 2019. Reference Oshakati. To JTH Trading CC as a buyer
Buyer of what?
of fish, my lord.
What type of fish?
Osmagarel, my lord.
And what is the value of the invoice there? Total.
343,226.70.
And did you pay these amounts over to Saga Seafoods for those fish?
Yes, my lord. I pay them Saga Seafood. During the period, my lord, of 2017 to 2019 before my arrest, I made a payment to Semeji Group of Company, approximately 23.3 million for the fish that I bought from them.
Between the period?
2017 to 2019.
You, or through your companies, actually paid the Samerji group of companies like Saga Seafood for the fish?
Saga Seafood, Mermaria, Acticnam, all their companies.
Okay.
It depends.
It depends.
They send me an invoice,
And there is an approximate 23 million.
close to 23 million, approximately 23.3 million.
My lord, in order to curtail the proceedings, there is a number of tax invoices, my lord, under number 15. Like the witness explained, it's basically to the Samerji group of companies, the various companies, for the fish that was bought. If there's any objection, we beg leave to hand it up and to be marked as Exhibit B10.
My finger.
No objections, my lord.
As it pleases.
Mark exhibit B10.
Let's turn to number 16.
I'm there, my lord.
Can you please identify those documents also there for us?
My lord, this is a tax invoice from Arctic Nam Fishing Pty Limited, dated 23 March 2017, to the buyer, JTH Trading CC.
Buyer of what?
Of fish, my lord.
What is the total value of that invoice?
320,907.50.
Before we move on, Mr. Hatuikulipi, Arctic Nam Fishing, to whom does this company belong?
My lord, Arctic Nam Fishing, it's a joint venture company. Semeji Group and the joint ventures, the 3 joint ventures.
Sorry, let's just quickly go back. You say it's a joint venture.
Company
One of the companies in the joint venture is Samerji Group of companies.
and the 3 joint ventures, JV2, JV5, and JV7. Remember, they went into a catching agreement.
Yes.
They become now partner.
Okay.
So they form a joint venture company, which was named Arctic Nam Fishing. And the operation was managed by Semeji. They were managing the operation.
When you refer to this JV, it's Sincor, Ucor, and Ipango.
That's correct, my lord.
My lord, if there's similarly no objection to this tax invoices, it's actually a number of them from Arctic Nam to JTH Trading. It spans from the period 2017 to 2018. You can click to hand it up, my lord, and to be marked as Exhibit B11.
Typing here.
None, my lord.
Exhibit B11. Maybe
Yeah.
does he recall approximately how much was paid to this company, just as he estimated for the other? What was the other company where he said spent 3 point?
No,
My lord, if I may just, the witness explained that the invoices that they received from the fish were from various companies from some Samerji Group of companies.
Yes.
So that includes Saga Seafood, Mermaria, and also Arctic Nam, my lord.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So all the invoices that we are basically referring to, they have a combined value of the 23 million,
Oh,
as it pleases the court.
thank you.
We're almost done with the invoices, Mr. Hatuikulipi. Let's go to number 17.
I'm there, my lord.
Yes. Can you identify the document or those documents for us?
My lord, this is a tax invoice from Mermaria Seafood, Namibia, Pty Limited, dated February 10th, 2017, with the buyer, JTH Trading CC, for the fish that I bought from Semeji Group of companies, my lord.
You see here, it's again horse mackerel.
Correct.
And what is the total value there of the invoice?
331,164 and $12. 12 cents. Sorry.
Yeah, 12 cents.
12 cents.
Hello, this is similarly a bundle of invoices or bunch of invoices from 2017 until 2018, 15 March 2018, from Mermaria Seafood Pty Ltd to JTH Trading in respect of the purchase of horse mackerel.
Yes.
If there's no objection, I beg leave for it to be handed up and to be marked as Exhibit B12.
Typing here.
None, my lord.
Exhibit B12.
May I proceed, my lord?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, you earlier testified that JTH, or let me say these fishing shops, were making quite some money.
That's correct, my lord.
Do you perhaps know, just for the period, let's say for 2019, until your arrest or prior to your arrest, how much money JTH approximately made from this sale of the fish?
You mean the whole JTH or only from the fish? The whole
You
company?
can say whole JTH and approximately how much just from the fish separately.
My lord, JTH, during the period of January 2019 to October 2019, generated a revenue income of 28.5 million, 31,589.96 cents.
Now let's go to number 18 under that bundle.
I'm there, my lord.
I think you just took us through the first page. Let's go to the second page where the bank statements start.
I'm there, my
I'd
lord.
rather ask you to identify the document.
I'm there, my lord.
Under number 18, my lord. Yes.
My lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading CC for January 2019.
And what does it say there? The funds received, the credits for that month?
1.8 million, 98,087, 25 cents.
And if we go to the next month, the next page, just take us through the funds received for JTH during those periods.
Sorry, Council.
Take us through the funds received through all these documents, the bank statements
Okay.
that are there. You can start off with the next month.
In February, JTH received 1.8 million, 52,878.60 cents. In March 2019, JTH received 5.2 million, 31,563.25 cents. April 2019, JTH received funds of 6.2 million, 31,986.10 cents. May 2019, JTH received funds of 1.9 million, 53,490.90 cents. June, JTH received funds of 1.7 million, 35,111,045 cents. So August, JTH received funds of 3.6 million, 96,629.19 cents. September, JTH received funds of 2.9 million, 38,486.52 cents. October 2019, JTH received funds of 1.7 million, 97,813.40 cents. That's it, madam.
And you earlier testified that it's from this January 2019 to October 2019 that the company approximately made 28 million.
That's correct, my lord.
And from this 28 million, approximately how much was from the sale of fish?
21 million, around about 21 million, or 20 million to 21 million from the sale of fish.
And this is the fish that you bought for your
From,
fish shops and then for onward selling.
that's correct, my lord.
Okay. Mr. Hatuikulipi, you can just relax, allow me to finish the question and then you can answer.
It's
No?
fine. Thank
Okay.
you. It's fine.
So, my lord, if there's no objection from the side of the state, my lord, I beg leave to end up these bank statements of JTH Trading for the period January 2019 to October 2019, and to be marked as exhibit, I lost this numbering, B13, my lord.
There's a court, this is, my lord, we are not certain on why exactly my learned friend want to hand these documents in. What is he saying these deposits were from? Maybe he can just clarify, because you will notice that we do not have the bank statement, we have a summary. Yes.
My lord, I believe
Maybe
this bank
to
statement.
put, sorry. To put it easier for them, the question is, what are they trying to prove by producing these documents to be handed in as an exhibit? That is the question.
Yeah.
I thought it was clear, my lord. But the witness has testified on is that JTH is his business. He was having fish shops from those businesses. And what he just testified is from this monies that he received over that period of time, 20 to 21 million is the amount of money that he approximately made from legitimate fish sales. That is basically what it establishes, my lord. And in fact, these are bank statements.
So, my lord,
Not bank statements, at least it's just the opening page of the bank statement, my lord. That is part of the disclosure, my lord. These are documents from the state. And they will be entitled to cross-examine on these documents, my lord. I don't know whether they are challenging the relevance, on what basis, it authenticity or relevance. Because we've established the relevance. What is relevant for him is to show that he had a legitimate business and that this business was operating and that it was receiving funds over a period of time from fish sales. That's why we started off with the invoices, as it pleases.
Are the documents from the bank or someone else summarized the amount and reduce them to these documents? Is it bank statements from the bank?
Yes, my lord.
Okay.
This is normally, when you get your bank statement, the first page normally has that cover page that tells you, that gives you an overview, a summary.
Okay.
This is the summary, my lord.
Okay.
And this obviously goes to the merits of the case.
Yes.
Because the state is alleging that, look, where have you been receiving your money? So we have to prove, at least,
Okay.
the legitimate source of the funds, as it pleases the court.
Mr. Ipinge?
The state objects to this document in as far as they are being produced to prove that the amounts deposited in these accounts were from the sales of fish. Clearly, the court is not taken into its confidence in the production of these documents, being given only a total amount of the deposits. We should remember that the allegations of the state is that there was monies that was being divided amongst the co-accused after they successfully defrauded the both Fishco as well as the ministry and the government. Yes. Yes.
I believe he takes note of that, but in principle, do you really have an objection to having it marked as an exhibit? Because you can still raise it with him, or you can dispute veracity of the document, or you are entirely saying it should not be part of these proceedings. Because I do understand what you are saying, that
Yes.
they are not clear as far as where these monies were generated.
Yes.
Yes,
I
I
don't-
understand that.
Yes. My objection then extends to say, if documents are being produced to prove a certain narrative,
Yes.
but they don't do that, what is then the relevance of that document to be before court?
Okay.
It's none. So why do we have it?
Okay. Mr. Viekas?
Lord, I am flabbergasted by my learned friend's objection. Started off and now is a new objection. They will be entitled to address these issues through cross-examination, my lord. And the court will then be put in a position to take an informed decision regarding whether this source of funds are legitimate. Or unless my learned friend is saying, in order for us to hand this up, we must first provide him with the full bank statements, then that is something that we can consider, my lord. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Ipinge, that you would rather prefer the full instead of just a summary? Okay. My lord, we can take instructions on that and we can park this matter for now. Okay.
Ask the court, please.
Okay. Now, you also previously testified that you were told then how much you must invoice through your entities by Samerji.
That's correct, my lord.
And did you invoice them for your consultancy
I did, my
services?
lord. I did, my lord.
Let us then go to point number 13.
Page what, my lord?
Number 13. We are not at the, it's just the numbering in the bundle.
Yeah.
Yes, under number 13. Yes, Mr. Hatuikulipi, please identify for us that first page, and then you can move over to the second page as well.
This is a supplier account, Erongo Clearing and Forwarding, CC.
And the supply account is for which company?
Mermaria Seafood,
Okay.
Namibia Pty Limited.
And what does this account indicate?
The payments that were made to Erongo Clearing and Forwarding from Mermaria Seafood, Pty Namibia Limited,
To Irongo Clearing.
to Erongo Clearing and Forwarding.
And it starts off in the beginning with invoice. You can just
Invoice,
take us through the document, Mr. Hatuikulipi.
invoice, reference, KTER 005. 12th of May 2014. A payment of 1.4 million was made to Erongo Clearing and Forwarding.
Now, here at the top, it says 12/05/14,
Correct.
and then it goes all the way down to 29/06/2018.
Correct, my lord.
Are those the invoice and payments that was made by Mermaria Seafood to Irongo Clearing?
From Erongo to Mermaria.
No, was it made from Mermaria Seafood to Irongo Clearing? Was it paid to Irongo Clearing?
Correct, my lord.
Yes. Let us just clarify that point.
Okay, my lord.
And you said this was in respect of the services for?
My lord, these funds were based on our agreed upon framework in the agreements we signed. And these funds are commingled funds. Some for the 3 JVs that I've introduced for Semerji, for concluding a long-term catching agreement, and some for businesses that I've introduced to Semerji of clients outside Namibia, as far as Zambia, DRC, Mozambique, and Angola.
And if you turn the page,
Then, my lord,
identify the document for us.
My Lord, there is an invoice from Erongo Clearing and Forwarding to Katla Seafood Namibia Pty Limited, dated 12th of May 2014. Invoice number KTER 005. Amount paid 1.4 million. Description, consultancy fee.
So there's 1.4 million paid to Erongo Clearing.
Correct, my Lord.
My Lord, just to assist the court and for the sake of brevity, the documents under number 13 obviously reflect, as the witness have now testified, a supplier account together with a number of invoices, my Lord, relating to the supplier account. There's a number of invoices, my Lord. It's from 2014 until, I think the second last page is 2017, my Lord. It relates to what is on the supplier account statement. If there's no objection from my learned friend for the state, we beg leave to end it up, my Lord, and to be marked as Exhibit B13.
No objections, my lord.
Yes. My Lord, we initially requested for the bank statements to be B13, but with that matter still pending, we will
Yes.
get back to that one.
That's fine.
And let's go to number 14. And then please identify the document for us.
Supply account for JTH Trading CC from Mermaria Seafood Namibia Pty Limited.
And you can just identify the similar way you did with the other document.
Okay, invoice number MSF.01. Date 5th of January 2016. 1 million Namibian dollar.
And if you turn the page, identify the document first.
Lord, it's an invoice from JTH Trading CC to Mermaria Seafood Namibia, dated on the 5th of January 2016. Amount 1 million. Description, consultancy.
My Lord, we have a similar matter here as the previous one. It's also a supplier account with various invoices. The only difference here, my Lord, is that these invoices are from 2016 until 2019. From JTH Trading to Saga Seafood and Mermaria Seafood. It's actually Saga Seafood and Mermaria Seafood, my Lord. Apologies. No, my Lord. I see that there's a bit of a mix-up here in the bundle. The first part, my Lord, it's AP011 of AP011. Your Lordship notice that? Then there must be invoices for JTH Trading, my Lord. These invoices will then run for about 20 pages until the 30th of December 2017. That coincides with the supplier account. And then there would be the following page, my Lord, would be AP12, and that is a supplier account from Saga Seafood. Is your Lordship there? In the middle, my Lord, there would be a marking AP012.
All written JTH JTH Trading CC on top till the end.
My lord, and the billing address at the end, in the middle of the document,
Yes.
is that Mermaria Seafood, Namibia?
Are you referring to the last document?
Yeah, the last document there, my lord. Is the billing address also Mermaria Seafood? In the middle of the document.
Billing address Company Saga Seafood and address Matima Building, Valvispe. That's how it reads.
Yeah, my lord.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes, my lord. What I basically mean to say, my lord, is in that bundle, it's a thick bundle of
Yes.
documents.
Yes.
Somewhere in the middle of that bundle, my lord, there starts a new supplier account.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes,
So
I
the
see
first
this.
one is for Mermaria Seafood.
I
The
see
second one must be for Saga Seafood and JTH Trading. So
Actually,
somewhere there in the middle, my lord, it will say AP012.
yes, I see it.
Yes. So we must just divide the two, my lord.
Okay.
Yes. Apologies for that. No, just assist now. So, my lord, in terms of the one that is marked AP011, that supplier account for JTH and Mermaria Seafood, we are begging leave to hand this up, my lord, to be marked as Exhibit B14 if there's no objection.
None, my lord.
Bear with me there. All right. Exhibit B14 is only in respect to Mermaria Seafood.
Only Mermaria Seafood.
Yes.
My lord, then in respect of AP12, that one relates to Saga Seafood. The invoices for consultancy services from JTH Trading. That is for the period 2018 to 2019. That statement is also together with the tax invoices.
Is it only one document?
So, my lord,
Because the next one is Carry Investment.
please remember, my lord remembers that the witness did not testify that that name was changed. Or let the witness rather explain, my lord.
Because you were saying the next document is Saga. Is it the one that you are now suggesting should be marked the next exhibit?
Yes, my lord.
Just this only document. I was just pointing out that the rest appears to be different from, they are not for Saga Seafood. The rest of the documents. I only see one in respect to Saga.
Yes, I noticed that, my lord.
But you may proceed. I think you can take it up with your witness.
Are you there, Mr. Hatuikulipi?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, then firstly, just identify for us that one from Saga Seafood.
This is a supply account of JTH Trading CC from Saga Seafood, Pty Limited. Invoice KL01/03/2018. Dated the 6th of March 2018. Payment 575,000.
And this statement, does it also reflect the payment that was made for consultancy services.
That's correct, my lord.
My lord, we would then proceed to only move and hand up that AP12, my lord, and not the invoices because they are not clear, my lord.
Okay. Mr. Ipinge?
I have no objections, my lord. But even with the invoices, I think we had testimony earlier that Kari was a shelf company. It was later changed to Saga. So it's up to them if they want to hand them up.
My lord, if there's no objection, then we can hand up those invoices that are also following from the statement.
To be one exhibit.
One exhibit, my lord. Then we can mark it B15.
Yes, all right. The rest of the documents are marked exhibit B15. That is from AP012 to the end of this number 14.
As it please the court. Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, one of the main allegations made by the state is that there was no consultancy, or these consultancy agreements were dummy agreements, and that there was actually no consultancy work performed by yourself. Can you please respond to that?
My lord, there was work done for Semeji Group. And Semeji accepted all the invoices made to them from Erongo Clearing and Forwarding and JTH Trading CC. Those payments were paid in accordance as per the agreements, my lord. Work was performed for which payment was made. The amount earned was earned lawfully. The course of normal business for services rendered, my lord.
Are you still there with your bundle, Mr. Hatuikulipi?
Yes, my lord.
Let us go to number 19 of that bundle.
I'm there, my lord.
Can you please identify the document for us?
My lord, this is an email from Johannes Stephenson to myself, my lord, dated on the 13th of August, 2013. The heading, Info Client.
Briefly take us through that email.
It's an email from Johannes Stephenson saying, "Hi, Tamson. Please ask the client for the following. What sizes are they interested in? Can they take all the sizes? Final destination, transport, trucks, containers, or reefer cargo vessel. When we sell full load, it's normally around 2,200 tons. But we can also look into the sell small loads if it's for a reefer cargo vessel. It's a matter of discussion. We sell in smaller quantities when discharging in port. Payment is in advance. They take care of the transport. It's either FOB sale, XH sale, FOT free on track, or ex cold store. If you have any other questions, then don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks, regards, Johannes Stephens. Sorry, Johannes.
What was Johannes referring to here? Who's the client?
My lord, This is regards to a client, potential client that I got. And I called Johannes to give me the prices, the current prices. Because fishing, the market, there is no stable price. They change. So for him to respond to my call, he sent me an email that I must find out from the client what sizes do they want and all those things, my lord. This explains this meeting, this email, my lord. Sorry.
In this particular work, was it related to Nemgomar in any way?
No, my lord.
And if you turn the page, there's a number of emails that we will have to go through. You can take us through, turn the page, identify the document for us, and just briefly take us through and explain the document to us.
My lord, there's an email from Johannes Stephenson to Tamson Fitty Hatuikulipi, dated March 27, 2015. Memo, market and sale. Good day. Only for your info. See memo, market and sale. Regards, Johannes.
And was that memo and market and sales attached to the email?
Yes, it's attached to the email, my lord.
And why would Johannes be sending you the memorandum of market and sales, or the memo?
My lord, this is an example of my work that I was doing. So Johannes was updating me on the markets and to approach new markets with more products. If you look at bullet point number 7 and 8.
Is that on the second page, on
No,
the memo?
same page.
Are we on the memo?
Yeah, the memo.
Yes, okay.
Bullet number 7 and 8 is saying, see if we can increase sales in containers to new markets. The second one, make sure we move product promptly. So my lord, this is a good example that I was doing work for Sameji.
And let us turn. So after that memo, is another document there.
There's an email from Tamson Fitty to Johannes Stephenson, dated 9 July 2015. Say company details for Zambia. Hi Johannes, as per our conversation, please find the company's detail for the supply agreement for Zambia. Global Logistic Limited, house number 108, Kumbulonga Kudu Road, Lusaka. PO Box 50631, Lusaka. Regards, Tamson.
Can you please place this in context for us? What is the supply agreement for Zambia and who is Global Logistics Limited?
My lord, Global Logistic is one of the clients that I've introduced to Sameji. So I've indicated the funds that was paid into JTH and Saga were commingles. This is clear to the court that I've introduced businesses to Sameji of clients outside Namibia. So Zambia, DRC, Mozambique, and Angola.
And if you turn that page, take us through the following document. It's Namibian fish for DRC.
My lord, This is an email from James Hatuikulipi to BM Poko, Atlantic Net, carbon copied, John Stephenson, and myself. On the 6th of December, 2015, Namibia fish for DRC. Dear His Excellency Ambassador, I trust email finds you well. Our conversation on Friday afternoon is reference when we met and were introduced at the Four Seasons Westcliff Hotel in Johannesburg. You have indicated that you had an interest to source horse mackerel and other fish products from Namibia directly. I have copied into the email to Johannes Stephenson, the Managing Director of Arctic NAM, one of the successful operators in the Namibian horse mackerel industry. Copied into, as well as his sales agent, Tamson Fitty. Please deal with them directly on this matter. We will remain in contact. Regards, James.
What was Mr. James referring to here, that you are the sales agent and that they must deal with you?
That's correct, my lord.
The sales agent for who?
Semeji Group.
And beneath that email, still take us through the document.
This is a reply from Johannes Stephenson on the 6th of December 2015, the same day, to James Hatuikulipi and to BM Poko, Atlantic Net, and to myself. Dear His Excellency Ambassador, I trust you are well. We do export rather bigger quantities per year to DRC of horse mackerel from Namibia. Please advise your requirements if that interests you. Expected quantity, transshipment to a reefer or with trucks. Size, destination in DRC. Do not hesitate to contact us if any question. Thank you in advance. Regard, Johannes Arctic Armed Fishing Pty Limited.
And what is the DRC that is being referred to here?
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Okay. Now it seems that at the bottom here it's page 1 of 2. Let's go to page 2 of that email.
Page?
Page 2. Just turn the page. Or is this where it stops? So let's go to the next email.
Okay.
Yes. Angolan prices. This will be the last one that I will be dealing with.
Okay.
Yes.
My lord, this is an email from JTH from Arctic NAM. To myself, copied Johannes Stephenson. Dated on the 12th of February 2016. Says Angolan prices. Hi Tamson, the current prices we are looking at for Angolan market are as follow. 20 plus, my lord, when you say 20 plus here, is the size of the fish. It's 1,150 US dollar per ton. For 25 plus, it's 1,350 US dollar per ton. Please see if you can work with this and let's discuss a workable solution. Kind regards, Jackie, Arctic NAM Fishing Pty Limited.
And what did you understood Jackie to mean when she said, oh, let me say Ms. Tiar, when she said, please see if you can work with us and let us discuss a workable solution?
So with regard to the prices, of course,
what were you supposed to do?
what she's telling me here, my lord, this is the price for 20 plus and 25 plus for the Angolan market. So I was talking to a client, my lord, from Angola. As I've said, prices change. So she sent me this document to inform me that 20 plus and 25 plus, this is the price per ton. US dollar. Not Namibian dollar, US dollar. So my lord, while we are here, you go to the first email. Let me get my calculator quickly. Can we get to the first email, my lord? Number 5. When we sell full load, it's normally around 2,200 tons. That is the whole loads now of fish. If you take that 2,200, my lord, you times it, go back to the other page where the prices are from Angolan. Times 1,150 US dollar. It will give you 2.5 million and 30,000 US dollar. My lord, it's just an example. If I get 5 loads, full loads for these clients, which I did, then you make 2.5 million and 30,000 times 5 loads. It will give you 12.6 million US dollar. If you convert that to our currency, exchange rate, let's say 14, 15. Which one can you use? 14, 15? Times, let's use 15, times 15. Sorry. Times 15 on exchange rate to convert it into Namibian dollars now. It will give you 189 million, 750,000. 189,750,000. So my lord, this is the values that I was bringing on the table for Semej. If you take this amount, then you say, because they decide how much to pay me upon success, because costs have to come out and all those things. If you say 4%, it's 7.5 million, my lord. I just want to make it clear to the court how it works, because I see it's spinning in Mr. Ipinge's mind when they see these figures. So I want to make it clear to them, these things are doable.
Since I was mentioning, my spinning is not on the amount. My spinning is on the misinterpretation of the emails provided and the wrong calculations, because the first email talks of tons, the second email talks of metric tons, but I intend to deal with that in cross-examination.
No problem, Mr. Ipinge. I'll be waiting for you.
Just for proper decorum purposes, next time, just object. I'm not sure if he's objecting to the witness or is he just engaging the witness while I'm busy with examination in chief.
Or maybe because his name was mentioned. But that's fine, yes.
My lord, at this juncture, I see that it's already past 4, my lord. My learned friend for the state has also been, so to say, been nudging me, that they've also requested for us to adjourn a bit earlier today.
Okay.
We still have a lot of the emails that we have to go through, my lord. May we adjourn then and reconvene tomorrow morning. As please the court.
Mrs. Malot, it's not that we want to bring the session to an end, but there are other stakeholders involved.
Yes.
The person is in custody and there are procedures to be followed in the time that they keep to.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I accept that.
Yes.
My lord, then between the parties, we've also discussed in terms of what time we can start tomorrow, my lord, and both defense and the state is in agreement that we can start at 10 o'clock tomorrow, my lord, if the court is so inclined.
That's so, Mr. Ipingu.
Yes, my lord.
In that case, the matter is then postponed to tomorrow, the 14th of July, 2022 at 10 o'clock for continuation of the bail application. The applicant is remanded in custody.
Is it please the court? Is the court, please?
Thank you, Ula John.
Aye.